Combat sports fans, it's time for Strong Style, Impact Media's weekly dive off the top rope into the world of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. I want to welcome you guys in to another fun-filled edition. Man, we have got all kinds of stuff tonight. We got tons of wrestling, of course. We got to talk NXT No Mercy. We've got to talk TNA and their development and the invasion of NXT by TNA. AEW powering up, coming off a big pay-per-view. NWA Power. But we're going to start with mixed martial arts. Before we do, if you want to really help the show or find the rest of our shows, you can go to our YouTube channel, impact_media_, and you will find all our amazing content there outside of our hockey show Board Check, which is on its own channel. But you can find all of our great shows there. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell where you know when all the new episodes are dropping. Remember, we don't charge you for our content. If other people do, that's fine. We don't. I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it that way for you guys, at least for the foreseeable future. Things could always change, but for now, I definitely want to keep it where we keep it free. We keep it free for you guys. For you guys. If I don't want to charge. But I need you guys to go like the page and subscribe on YouTube and things like that. And that will help keep this free. It will also line up some sponsors that will help pay for things down the road. So that once again, it's free for you. So, as I said, I want to start with mixed martial arts. Let's start with BKFC. What is going on over here? Okay. No idea. BKFC. That's Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, Bare Knuckle Boxing. It's not Bare Knuckle Fighting, guys. It's Bare Knuckle Boxing. Remember, we went to the Atlanta show. Got to cover the Atlanta show live December of last year. And I stand by my statement from that. I went into it not knowing how I would like it, seeing it up close, seeing it live. I'd kind of got a vibe it could be kind of brutal. And man, I had a fantastic time. I had such a good time that we now fully cover him on this show. But they got a big pay-per-view, a big show coming up tomorrow night, BKFC 82. There's been 82 of these so far. That is in Newark. That's in New Jersey for people who didn't do well in U.S. geography. How about Mike Perry versus Jeremy Stephens? That's a UFC main event if you want to see it. But Mike Perry coming in at 5-0. Jeremy Heathen Stephens coming in at 3-0. Mike Perry is the heavy favorite at -301, plus 213 for Heathen Stephens. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good, guys. Perry has found a new chapter in his life with the bare knuckle boxing. He does really well with it. It's like he's suited for it. And Jeremy Stephens, same way. I think Stephens has went back and fought in the UFC in between bare knuckle appearances. But everything I've heard from bare knuckle is that he is going to do this for the foreseeable future as well. And man, what a wild main event this is going to be. I mean, you got to think that Perry is the heavy favorite, but don't discount Stephens. Don't discount Stephens at all. I do think Mike Perry is going to win, but I also got to back another Jeremy because we never get a good shake of things. We're always the bad boyfriend, right, Hallmark? Love Hallmark to sponsor this show. We have no problem with that. I have seen majority of your movies. They're all good, by the way. Side note there. Oh, there we go. Since we're going to talk fighting, we got to get that going. But yeah, we're going to get Perry versus Stephens in the main event. The co-main event, we are going to get Christine Faria. I think it's Faria. against Jessica Borga. Faria is 10-1. Borga is 3-0. It's only a minus 135 for Faria or Faria, and Borga is only a plus 102. I think Jessica Borga is going to win this particular matchup. So I will take Borga in the co-main event. And then also the featured bout right before that, Jimmy Rivera and Timmy Mason. Yep, Jimmy versus Timmy. And shout out to anybody that remembers that battle. Timmy versus Timmy. I think Jimmy Rivera is the slight favorite, but I think these two are going to really throw down, and I think it's going to be absolutely spectacular. This is all main card too. There are tons of main card fights. There are tons of free fights as well. You can go. The best thing to do, go to bkfc.com. It will show you all the amazing options of how you can watch BKFC, and go do that. And shout out to PFL. They had a great event out. It was just last night, really, but they had it over in Dubai, the Champion Series, where Usman and Nurmagomedov got the unanimous decision over Paul Hughes. Corey Anderson got the win over Doublet Yashamuradov. Sergio Pettis got the KO on Magomed Magomedov. Just a lot of really good fights. A lot of really, really good fights. So shout out to the PFL. You know, we covered them a handful of times. And look forward to it again. If they come back to Atlanta or somewhere nearby, we will definitely hit them up. So UFC 320. 320 of these now. Headlined by Magomed Ankalaev, who is the lightweight heavyweight champion and a minus 260 favorite over the challenger, light heavyweight challenger, Alex Pereira, at a plus 210. Almost feel like that's disrespectful, but Ankalaev has been a pretty good champion to this point. I think Pereira can win this one. I think Ankalaev finds some way to win this one. I don't know if it goes to decision or whatever it does, but I'm going to go Magomed Ankalaev to retain his title in the main event. Merab Dvalishvili is a minus 450 favorite as the bantamweight champion, as he takes on Corey Sandhagen at a plus 325. Might be some good money on Corey, because Corey could find some ways to win this one. But the way Merab beats you is he just wears you out. He has a high energy that he pushes the entire time. And so if Corey will be fortunate if this is only 3 rounds. If this is a 5-round fight as a title match and as a co-main event, it sure might be. Ooh, just into the 4th, you are going to be gassed, because Merab just gets on his bike and rides. I got Merab in that one. I don't want that to sound like Corey has no chance, because of course he does. You don't get to 18-5 lightly. But I will take Merab in that one. Yuri Prohaska at a minus 195 is going to take on Khalil Roundtree Jr. at a plus 165 in the light heavyweight division. You got to think, if Yuri can pull this off, he's going to face the winner of Pereira and Ankalaev. You gotta think it's probably close to that. And also, that fight is on there in case something in the main event falls apart. If Ankalaev somehow can't make it, I feel like Yuri is going to get pushed into the main event. If Alex Pereira can't make it, I feel like Yuri is going to get pushed up in there. And I don't want to slight Khalil Roundtree, because Khalil can easily win this too. But Yuri Prohaska has such a crazy, crazy backstory, and he's a really, really good fighter. This will be professional fight number 38 for him. Give me Yuri Prohaska. Josh Emmett is going to face Yusuf Zalal. I think Josh Emmett is a plus 375 dog. Crazy. Yusuf Zalal is a minus 550 favorite. I think there's some good money on Josh Emmett here. Emmett here. He has more than a puncher's chance to win. It's probably going to be with strikes, I would imagine. But Yusuf Zalal, you gotta consider he's probably going to win it. But if you want to throw down a few ducats on the possible upset, there's a couple pretty decent ones on this card. But definitely go for that one. A lot of this card is going to be on either FX, ESPN Plus, or Disney Plus. Even ESPN News is going to carry some as well. The last one on the actual pay-per-view is going to be Abus Magomedov against Joe Pyfer in the middleweight division. Joe Pyfer, a minus 260, plus 210 for Abus Magomedov. I like Abus's name. I like Joe Pyfer's chances in this one. I will take Joe Pyfer to unanimous decision win Abus Magomedov. So to recap, I've got Joe Pyfer over Abus Magomedov. I've got Yusuf Zalal over Josh Emmett. I've got Yuri Prohaska over Khalil Roundtree. I've got Merab Dvalishvili to retain his belt over Corey Sandhagen, and Magomed Ankalaev to retain his belt over Alex Pereira. I told you guys we're going to talk more fighting coming up soon anyway. So it's going to be more because PFL's got some events coming up. Bare Knuckles got some more coming up, and the UFC, that train is back going. They took a little bit of a hiatus, which I think they needed. Dana's working on the boxing thing and some other stuff, but it's definitely really picking up again, and I can't wait. MMA is so fun. There's nothing like a fight night. I told everybody that BKFC has a spectacular fight night to be a part of. I'm sure UFC does. I've never been to a UFC event, so I just have to go with what people tell me. But PFL throws a killer one. I used to go to some local ones that were up in the Duluth area, and we had a spectacular time there. Met some really great fighters. Nothing like a fight night. Really, it's nothing like a fight night, and there's nothing like a live pro wrestling show. Even though this was live for the audience there, it is taped and shown to us via the Roku channel, and that, of course, is NWA Power. Trying to figure out, is there a way it's in? Right. I'm not even gonna, it's gonna look really bad if I try to spell that with hand signals. So let's talk about last week a little bit. The Holy Grail defeated Cam Fox and Kai Price. EC3 and Pretty Boy Smooth is known as the Holy Grail now, and they are known as the Holy Grail. And they defeated the team of Cam Fox and Kai Price, who apparently trained in the Heart Dungeon. I believe they trained with Natty Neidhart down in Florida. I believe it's where the new dungeon is, or Dungeon 2.0, or whatever it is down there. But which is good. That gave them some credibility for this, because not only are they relatively new to me, a relatively new watcher to NWA, but they are relatively new to NWA themselves. So I thought they did pretty good. EC3 is just incredible. He's still fantastic. And Pretty Boy Smooth, I gotta say, reminds me of Austin Towers here locally. Although, shout out to the big man Austin Towers, friend of the show, definitely friend of this show. He's been on this show before. Austin Towers. I think Austin's a little better. And now Pretty Boy Smooth will try to find me at the next event, probably. So, say a small one for me. But it was a good, solid match. Basically, this was to establish EC3 and Pretty Boy Smooth as a tag team, and they are apparently wanting to put their hat in the ring of being tag team champions. That's what EC3 said after the match, and so we look forward to that. Alex Taylor defended his junior heavyweight championship against Luke Curtis. Um, this is a really good match. Maybe it's because of all the wrestling I watch, but even with the unfamiliarity with a lot of the NWA, I can get a vibe and a feel for how I think things are going to go. In no time did I think Alex Taylor was going to lose his belt to Luke Curtis, and that's not because Luke Curtis isn't any good, because Luke Curtis is really good. It never gave off the vibe that a title was going to change hands on my television screen. Like I said, that being said, it was a great match. I look forward to more from Alex Taylor and Luke Curtis. I honestly, we got this NWA. Is it Somheim or whatever it's called? That's coming up here the 17th. I believe it's a Friday night, October 17th, here in Atlanta. And I've seen a couple things here and there. I know other talents that are supposed to be on the show, and I'm waiting on the build to see some of these things and rumors that I've heard. Because so far I've seen a handful of matches. I've seen more of people that are going to make appearances, like Matt Cardona and Shotzi Blackheart. I think it just goes by Shotzi now, but I've never met either one of them. Would love to meet them. But there's a lot of really good people. Crazy Steve that I heard could be there, and I think Thrillbilly is going to be there. There's going to be some just really good ones, and haven't really seen it materialize yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing how quickly this all escalates. We got to see, or I got to see a team that I have seen live, the Country Gentlemen, CJ and AJ Kazana. They defeated a team called the Rewind Society. Was not familiar with Rewind Society, but they came out with the boom boxes and were rocking, and I was digging what they were doing there. They tried to get some good offense going, but man, like I said, I've seen the Country Gentlemen live. I've seen them a handful of minutes from this studio right now at Premier All Star. I thought this was a really good showcase for them. Not sure what happened in the very end. There were a couple of miscommunications, but they played it off well. And in the end, the Country Gentlemen, who apparently are trying to play it straight with the manager that they had, or they're by the book. By the book is what they're trying to do, in a nefarious way, and it's fantastic what they were doing. Look forward to seeing them again very, very soon, and they pick up the win. The NWA Television Champion Brian Idol defended his belt against Daisy Kill. I was looking forward to this match. This was the main event of the show. Had a pretty good idea Brian Idol was going to retain because they kept telling us about a Lucky Seven rule, and then once they explained the Lucky Seven rule, I had a pretty good idea he was going to retain. This was his first title defense. The Lucky Seven rule, which I kind of like. Maybe it's a little much if somebody did it more locally. Maybe you do the 3 or 4. But the Lucky Seven rule is if you defend the television title, not win, that doesn't count. That's like win. That's like 0. If you defend the television title 7 consecutive times, you can cash it in for a world title shot, I believe. Which I like that. You don't TNA had where you could cash in the X Division one time a year. Option C, I think, is what Austin Aries initially called it. But and which is fine, and I like that. You give up your belt to go for the bigger belt. I mean, that's. But the Lucky Seven rule could be good. But as little as we see him on TV, man, that could take like a year for him to do. So it would be nice if he did if he defended it once or maybe twice in the same night, just to add a little bit of intrigue. But overall, it's pretty good. We saw the debut of Rich Swann, who made a statement in the back about next week. He is facing. Who did he say? He is facing Alex Misery, who I'm looking forward to. His stablemate Alexander Lev tells me a lot of great things about Alex Misery, unless I'm getting this twisted, which is possible with Misery. But they're going to face, and the winner of them is going to face Alex Taylor for the junior heavyweight belt. And what was DePope going to be back on next week's show as he is going to face Big Strong Mims in a non-title match. Look forward to seeing the Pope again. I have seen Big Strong Mims 3 or 4 times over the summer now, and he is more and more impressive each time. So definitely look forward to that. And I think that was all of NWA Power. They are on Roku channel every Tuesday. If you missed it, you can go back and you can binge watch them all. The whole season is up there. That's how I caught up. I went 3 or 4 episodes back and started watching. They're about an hour long, and they're really good. They're really good. It's sort of like maybe your dad or grandfather's NWA, but it's updated and it's kind of mixed and meshed well with the new age stuff. And I think that particular part of it is really, really fun and really spectacular. So let's talk. Let's see. No Mercy. Let's get to No Mercy, right? Do I have my No Mercy? There's my No Mercy. I don't really need results because I know who won everything. All right, let's start right there. Javon Evans versus Josh Briggs opened it up. Javon Evans the night before. Well, not the night. It was SmackDown, so it was like 3 or 4 days before. But the night before was on the Sami Zayn Open Challenge for the U.S. title and did a spectacular job against Sami. Come up a little short. Javon in this one come up a little short again as Josh Briggs was able to get the victory. I think Briggs needed it more. Javon doesn't necessarily need it. The good thing is when Javon was on SmackDown, Daniel Snyder, who is my co-host and tag team partner of all things WWE media for the Backstage Jabroni show, he said, I said, have you ever seen Javon Evans up until that point? And he said, no. I said, what did you think? He said, man, outside of occasionally looking like he gets just a little ahead of himself, a little excited here and there. I said, yeah, but he's really, really new. He said, outside of that, kid's impressive. And I said, you should see him on NXT. Him and Josh Briggs definitely went out there and got this thing started in the right way. And Javon Evans will be fine. Josh Briggs needed the win because he hadn't looked as strong here recently, and he's somebody they could do something with too. He might be that next main event guy up, like as far as let's boost him up because I think there's going to be some call ups very, very soon, but we'll get to those. In the weaponized cage match, Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe beat the crap out of each other. Now, of course, Jordan Grace was the one with the win, but this was one of Blake Monroe's best matches that I've seen since she's come to NXT. Because, I had made a statement last week that I've just not been impressed since she lost to Toni Storm at AEW and now finds herself over here in NXT and did the big jump. And it's like she hadn't gotten her feet planted yet. It felt like after this one, she might have. She definitely might have. It was a really good showing. There's so many weapon and cage matches now. There's like 2 or 3 per show everywhere you go that I like just straight up matches a lot more right now. But this one was very fitting and very, it just worked. It just worked. Maybe it was the people involved. For the North American Championship, Ethan Page and Tavion Height. Moral of the story, Tavion is not quite ready yet to take it from Ethan Page. Ethan is doing a great job of making the North American title mean something. I could argue up until Oba Femi has had the belt that I don't think Trick did a lot with it. I would say Oba has done a lot with it. But Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights was a great match. Great back and forth. Tavion Heights is a potential star down the road. Not yet. They weren't ready to hand him that baton yet. And Ethan Page gets the victory. Impressive victory, too. Let's get that one. They've got them out of order on the sheet I'm looking at. Let's go there. For the WWE Speed Championship, Sol Ruca and Laney Reed. I told you guys I understand the concept of the speed, but you got two really good talent. One is Sol Ruca, who is probably going to be on Raw or SmackDown sooner rather than later, and Laney Reed, who they're wanting to be the next person up, the next person to step up from this level to this level. If she has all the tools, I think she can talk, she can work in the ring really well. Her and Sol had a great 3-minute match, or 2 minutes and 47 seconds, or whatever it is. Sol retains, but man, I want to see these two wrestle when there's not a 3-minute timer. Maybe it happened this Tuesday because I haven't checked yet. Let's go Women's Championship first. Jacy Jayne defended her Women's NXT Championship with the help of Fallon Henley and the help of somebody in a hoodie. Didn't quite see who it was. Fallon Henley had gotten relegated to the back just shortly before that, and it was not her because she came out after the match way too quickly if she was wearing any of the hoodie or the pants that the hooded person was. And the good thing is, they never really revealed who it was, so we have to speculate. Speculation is always good. But she retains over Lola Vice, who had her entire family at ringside. I think she's another one. Like, she's like right into the edge of being a main event player. But they're not quite ready to move the title off of Jacy Jayne, and they're not quite ready to put it on Lola Vice. I think a little bit more tweaking. And Lola's getting there. Man, she's real close, but there's a few things she should button up. And I just feel like that's where they're at. That's where they're at with this. What is going on with the lights up here? There we go. That's a little better, right? I don't know. But then that leaves, of course, Oba Femi versus Ricky Saint for the NXT Championship. And a lot of people look and go, well, Oba is almost twice the size of Ricky Saint. Sure, I'll give you that. He's but Ricky Saint is the better wrestler of the two. It's not that Oba's a slouch. Oba's not at all. But Oba used his size and power to keep Ricky Saint shoved down the whole time. Ricky would battle back and find things here and there, ways to get back in it. And then Ricky catches a DDT counter of Oba Femi on the announce table. And then he does 2 more of them in the ring. And new NXT heavyweight champion, Ricky Saint. Congratulations, Ricky Saint. I think it's going to be great. It's going to usher a new era into NXT. I think Ricky Saint's going to have it for a minute. It's going to play into the invasion, and also keep in mind what I always say about people with titles when they lose them, whether you think it's unexpected or not. this now frees up Obafemi to possibly get that call up. He might get that call up. Once again, people who I think could get the call up to the main roster. And also keep in mind, if you get called up to the main roster, they might drop somebody off the main roster because there's only so many rooms on the bus. It is what it is. People that I think could get called up. Obafemi. Actually, Ricky Saint, but I think not at the moment. Obafemi, Sol Ruka, Jasmine XCOM from the company, by the way. So that before you guys say that's who the hooded person was, it wasn't. I would say Ethan Page, but he's doing spectacular things there. So I would say Obafemi, Sol Ruka, Jordan Grace, and honestly, I don't think Javon Evans or Josh Briggs are going to be, but those are the ones that I think I would. Those are the ones I would keep an eye on now. And I think there's a couple more, but we'll get more into those down the road. All right. So at the end of NXT last week, as you looked into the crowd, there were a lot of TNA personnel. A lot. Like 10 or 11. And they'd been walking around the building all night. It made it blatantly obvious what was going on. But the way they did it, where Mike Santana interrupted the flow of Trick Williams, interrupted him to a point where Trick slapped the taste out of Mike Santana's mouth, and as Santana went to retaliate, Trick ran. He ran. He can try to say whatever. Oh, I evaded an attacker. Nope. You tucked tail and ran. Might have been a safer thing to do because you were outnumbered. But at some point, NXT, Hank and Tank, some of them, they empty out of the locker room, and TNA had a bunch of people out there as well, and we got a full-on invasion. A full-on invasion. How incredible is that? Full-on invasion. And I can't wait. What better way to mesh these two into this partnership instead of just talent exchange than to have them invading each other on their shows? This is spectacular. This is absolutely spectacular. But that leads us into there is at the next pay-per-view for TNA, I believe that's Bound for Glory, there is a team versus team thing, and they're all naming who their people are and everything like that. So in the next week or so, I'll start to reveal those names. It looks like all the TNA people that are going to be going against NXT are either former NXT people or former WWE people in general. And I think that's great because who knows the landscape more than people that used to be there. What else is there? What else? As we get into TNA, I like that whatever's going on with Ash by Elegance, that Tommy Dreamer is saying, hey, I know what Seth Rollins said, but I'm telling you this is real. This is a private matter, and it's not a shoot. Ash by Elegance is legit stepping away from wrestling. It looks like permanently. We don't know for what. He said it's some kind of HIPAA violation, which means it's health related. Reason why she can't anymore, but I mean, you gotta, I'm not even going to speculate what it is. I just thoughts and prayers to Ash by Elegance. I think Dana Brooke is her actual name. She used to be in WWE. Thoughts and prayers to her. I just hope that she is healthy and gets through whatever it is. If that unfortunately means we do not see her in a wrestling ring, as long as she is healthy, I think that is the best outcome. So that is that's really what I'm looking forward to. That's really more what looking forward to is her to be healthy and happy. She'd been champ for 33 days. She was setting up to go against Masha Slamovich, who is on kind of a weird hiatus because of her away from the ring stuff. And so it kind of was weird how you lose your potential main event and then you lose the other half of it. So they as I said with the update last week, Kalani Jordan is your new knockout champion who's able to capitalize and win it at the event. We'll see what they do with it from there. Um, other TNA wise, there was check out my notes. Victoria Crawford versus Jody Threat was fantastic. We got to see Tessa Blanchard at the end, who said, "Ta-da, I'm back." Didn't really do anything. She just kind of came out. It's good to know that she was back. But Victoria Crawford and Jody Threat was actually a really, really good match. Um, there was a big battle royal, kind of a gauntlet battle royal to determine. I don't think it's a world heavyweight, but maybe it's a Collier shot or something. I'm not real sure, but I know Mance Warner was the winner. He eliminated Lei Ying Lee, who had eliminated, I believe, Cardona right before that. But Mance Warner is actually a pretty solid, pretty good wrestler when he's not doing the goofy gimmick stuff. And he's good at the goofy, like, death match stuff, just like Sammy Callahan. But when they're not doing that, they're actually really, really good wrestlers. And so he won that. It looks like at some point the system and Order 4 are going to be going at it. But before they can do all that, some of them are part of this invasion. So we will kind of see where all this goes. We got to see the contract signing between Team 3D and the Hardys. We're going to line it up one more time. I thought in their promos they said some very real things about each other. Some of it was to pump up and fluff each other up, and others were straight up, I think, not shots, but straight up truth bombs that maybe up until now we didn't know how they really felt about certain situations and things that had happened. But that's going to happen, I believe, at Bound for Glory. We're going to get to see that. It's going to be a tables match, and all four of them are going to line up and do this. So I think it's going to be just absolutely amazing. So, of course, that leaves us with AEW, and then I'll get into some local stuff as well. AEW, you had the Gates of Agony versus Prodito for the belt, and the Gates of Agony come up short. I'm not saying they should have beat Prodito. I'm just saying the Gates of Agony and Ricochet beat MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley like a week ago at a pay-per-view, but they can't beat Prodito? Was Ricochet the turning point of that entire trios match or something? Because he interfered a little bit here and got involved, but not a whole lot, and didn't affect the outcome all that much. Did you tell me the Gates of Agony can beat MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin in a trios match, but he can't beat Brody King and Bandito on Dynamite? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why they did that. Possibly match of the night: Hangman Adam Page versus Lee Moriarty. Lee Moriarty more than proved that if he really wanted to, he can hang with anybody in the company. Him and Hangman had a barn burner of a match. Of course, Hangman was able to retain, but Lee Moriarty can be a primetime player if he wants to be. We get to see FTR and Adam Copeland and Christian and Stokely, and they all kind of get into it, except for this time Willow Nightingale was involved, and Jet Speed, and anybody else that wanted to come out. It seemed like it just I don't know, it's to promote some big multi-match that they're all trying to do, but it just seemed like filler to me. MJF had one of his best promos in the last couple months for sure. I thought he really stepped it up and really launched the attack with this particular thing. And like where he is in the ring and where he is in like a mental state, I think he is all cannons are firing right now. Again, he's back running hot. We will see where he goes from here. It'd be pretty interesting. There's you got to keep him away from the title for a minute because I mean he had his one shot, but he still has his other one sitting there, and you gotta let it dance before you let those two come back together because Hangman is doing way too good right now as well. Um, Orange Cassidy returned. That's not sarcastic. That's hey, great, great to have him back. Um, we got to see Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. Um, they're gonna have tag team women's belts now, which is good because their roster is deep enough and they have a lot of duos and trios that have paired off recently. So, um, good buddy out in California, James said there's a couple teams that he was looking forward to that he thought would make great inaugural champs. Um, he, he said, but the one that it seems like it leans to is it might be Penelope Ford and Megan Bain as the initial, and I was like, well, that honestly might be my number one pick for who should win them. But I also haven't looked at the rest of the teams. But that's one of the more established teams. I guess the Triangle of Madness of Sky Blue and Julia Hart that could work too. But knowing them, it'll be two random people. It'll be like Mercedes has enough belts, but it would be like the effect of like Mercedes and Statlander or something. It just two random people who aren't a team would probably end up being the ones to take it. Uh, Tony, if you need some creative ideas, I promise you I'll work very cheap. We can telecommute or I'll fly down there once a week. We will work that out. I promise you. I can help you out with some fresh ideas, and that way you can blame the new guy. Even if it was your idea, you can blame me and say, he come up with that. That's why it's terrible. Just saying. Um, Statlander defended her belt against Mina Shirakawa, and you just had to get another or a title defense in there real quickly anyway. Statlander not joining the Death Riders is interesting. I think it'd be more interesting if she circles around and joins them later. Because I think she actually fits and would do really well. But with her as the champ, we'll just have to see where that goes. Because that caused a melee that was only solved when Darby Allin came down with a flamethrower and made sure that Jon Moxley was not within 100 feet of the ring. Yeah, somebody come to me with a flamethrower, I'd give him 100, 200 feet clearance as well. Um, I want to see more from the Outrunners and Dalton Castle than beating KM, Corey Sparks, and Cowpoke Paul. Shout out Cowpoke Paul. Fantastic job. I guess thumbs up is the theme of tonight or something. Uh, but I just felt like there's so much more that the Outrunners and Dalton Castle can do that they haven't really gotten into yet. They might be trios champions somewhere down the road because how in the world can you beat those three? They are just brutally strong and really, really dialed into like another level of thinking. But Fletcher over Commander. Commander had a really good match. I've met Commander. He is fantastic. He is really cool. But him and Kyle Fletcher had a great match. Of course, Fletcher was able to win that one. Eddie Kingston and the Hook beat Brian Keith and Big Bill. That's fine. Winners or losers doesn't matter that much there. Eddie Kingston looked good in his return. And Julia versus Jamie Hayter was probably my second favorite match. Not just because I'm a fan of both of those women. It was a solid main event. It was a really solid main event. Um, so that leaves. I don't have all of the results. I've spoken to Josh from Apex a little bit. Don't have all of the results. Um, I do know as far as the finals that are set up for the men's and women's tournament. For the men, it is pull that up, make sure I get that right. There we go. It is Rayon and Drago. Because I really thought Alan Angels was going to win that, but I was wrong. And that is Kelsey Reagan and Izzy won her match as well, and then paid for it when Kelsey Reagan come out and tried to destroy all the ligaments in Izzy's knee. So what you get for making videos, calling people out, because Izzy called out her opponent for the week. Who it was? Don't remember. But she called out her opponent and then beat her. Hey, that's fine. And Kelsey called out Apex in general and not only won her match, but then got involved with Izzy and proved to her that you're not playing on the same level. You're not playing on the same level as Kelsey Reagan. Is what it is. But Apex apparently had just another banger of a show. Really wish I could go to some of those. They just are usually a little bit away. Augusta is a little bit away from the West Georgia area where we operate. So maybe one day. Maybe one day. Of course, Deep South had another great banger of an event over at New Realm. That's kind of like their home base. That's their TV tapings. Stunt Marshall and DJ Smoke defeated Hunter James and Nathaniel Vanderbilt to retain the DSW Tag Team Championship. Was pretty sure when I saw this in the lineup that they were going to retain because Hunter James and Nathaniel Vanderbilt are not an established team. And I've also seen these two defend against Hunter James and Argus Artois. So kind of pretty sure he wasn't going to win this time around either. But these four can really compete. The most underrated person in this match is DJ Smoke. He is spectacular. We know Stunt Marshall. We know Nathaniel Vanderbilt. We know Hunter James. Folks, you better be watching DJ Smoke. DJ Smoke is one of those guys that sneaks up on you and then he might steal the show. Austin Towers defeated Cosmo Martinez. Austin Towers came out to call out Deep South Wrestling again. Friend of the show, Austin Towers. Second time we are talking about him tonight. And Cosmo come down and said, you know what, big man, you talk way too much. Way too much. So we had an impromptu match. Didn't go Cosmo's way. It had some to do with Luka Daniels coming down there and interfering in Cosmo's matches he's been doing it for about 2 years. Although, if you really look at it, is he interfering? It seems like he's coming down there to try to keep everything straight. Luka, not trying to do anything nefarious. He's just trying to make sure that this is a good, clean battle and safe for both. And Cosmos didn't like how he did it. It's kind of how it went. Big Strong Mims defeated Lamar Diggs. That's two big. What does the Father Son podcast say? Meaty men. That is two meaty men. Two charging rhinos is what I would say that ran at each other for almost 10 solid minutes. Of course, Mims gets the win, but man, they both really took it out on each other, and then it was really good to see two big men really get into it like that. Not friend of the show, Gemma Jules. We respect Gemma Jules. She is the Deep South Wrestling Women's Champion. Not a fan of the way she does it, but who has my opinion, right? But she came out to toot her own horn, and then Audrey Allen come out and snapped that horn in half and threw it in the trash because Audrey Allen's had enough. I agree with Audrey. I would like that she gets a fair shake at the title because she has had Gemma beat twice. She actually beat her one of those times. Somehow it ended up in the favor of Jim and Jules. So these two are finally gonna go at it. Looks like at the next pay-per-view or next big show. You guys know my votes with Audrey for a lot of reasons, but go Audrey. And I hear you guys. I have reached out to her about being on the show. We will see if she will want to be on the show. I've reached out to a couple of the people that I've named already, so we will see when we can line them up next. Next up, Alex Kane defeated Jay Alpha Miller. This is a really good match. Alex Kane, one of the best in the state. Jay Alpha Miller, one of the best in the state. I have yet to see an Alex Kane match in person. I look forward to doing that. As truth be told, I was not at this show. I was able to get a lot of the recap and see some of the clips and things, and I thought it was really, really fantastic, as Deep South can only do. But Jay Alpha Miller better watch it, because on October 18th, he's going to be up in Rome, Georgia, at the 12 Gauge show, and he's going to have to face friend of the show, Gorilla the Great. And not only, these are unofficial terms I'm about to throw out because they are not officially part of the match. But one part that is official is the fact that Impact Media and J-Rod Cecil Repair are co-sponsoring that match. We are co-sponsoring that match. So that unofficially, because this is not official on the card, but that unofficially turns this into the Impact Invitational. We know the Impact's going to be there. We know his brother J-Rod's going to be there. Who knows who else is going to be there, but that should put extra pressure on Skrilla and on Jay Alpha Miller. We're going to try to line them up and get them on this show before that. We're going to have a lot of guests from that 12 Gauge show on in the next couple of weeks leading up into that. But the unofficial Impact Invitational between Jay Alpha Miller and Skrilla the Great might steal the show. If you see the rest of that card, any of those matches could steal the show. It is one of the most star-studded cards I've seen in a long time. Notches on it. The Body Snatcher's on it. Agent Zero or is it Agent 3? What is he? I think he's Agent Zero. Chad Skywalker, he's on it. Chris Crunk's on it. Ryan Mark. Ryan Marks is in a casket match. He's the devil, Ryan Marks, and he's in a casket match with Walker 13. The monster versus the devil in a casket match. If you guys aren't trying to make it to Rome on October 18th, what are you doing? What are you doing? But back to Deep South. Alex Kane, impressive showing. Jay Alpha Miller just come up a little short. He's so young in his career though that he'll be bouncing back soon and be fine. But he just had no answer for the X-Plex, and that's ultimately where the pin was. Ryan Rembrandt defeated Matt Sells via DQ. I'll be honest. I like Ryan Rembrandt. Big fan of Matt Sells. Another future guest on this show. But the fact that the New Realm title has to do with a breathalyzer, and you had the Boozerweight in the match with some sort of goofy gimmick, and I'll be honest, I'm glad I wasn't there. I'm glad I wasn't there, because these two probably had a great match, and then it was just a goofy stipulation that I've had to reach out to people to clarify multiple times. Are you sure? This is what? I don't know. Sells won the match, but he got DQ'd because he was supposed to have zero alcohol, and Ryan Rembrandt poured a beer in his mouth halfway through the match. I don't know. Yeah, I think we need to change that sooner rather than later because I think it is detracting from what should be a fantastic TV title of defended every time you're at New Realm, any New Realm, whether you're in North Carolina, whether you're here, if there's one on the moon. Yeah, I think you're taking away from what could be great showcases. That's my 2 cents. James Storm defeated Luka Daniel. These two are not only comedy gold, but they are fantastic workers. And the fact that they got to face each other, I'm kicking myself for missing this one. This was, I mean, there's a lot on this card that I bugs me that I missed. Um, but truth be told, I was already booked beforehand, so to do something else. And if you tune in to another show later this weekend on this channel, you'll figure out what that is. But Storm and Luca, man, they just are gold, especially when they're both together like that. Cosmos coming down and tying that in. That's gonna be a Mexican death match between Luca and Cosmos. That's gonna be really fun. Um, and what Narcissism and Apollo Prince with J. Alpha Miller got ruled a draw because of a double pin. I don't mind the setup and I don't mind all this, but the last New Realm show I went to, which, yes, truth be told, was like 2 months ago, there was a double pin in the women's match with Audrey and Gemma. Double pin, same way. So, yeah, Narcissism and Apollo Prince are fantastic. J. Alpha Miller, one of the best. You had a banger of a match going. And I mean, Rev gets knocked down. Paul, we got to get Paul lifting some weight. I got a conspiracy theory about Paul that referee Paul that I would like to bring up to either him and or Skrill the Great because that has something to do with him as well. Um, but yeah, I like the melee. I like a lot of stuff going on because what it eventually sets up is Naja versus Apollo versus Kane versus J Alpha Miller at October Rust in a fatal 4-way for the belt. I don't mind that. I think that's gonna be a fun match. But Naja and Apollo, man, they were on their way to a 5-star classic. And weird ambiguity. I don't know. Eric, get mad at me if you want. Just confusing. Very confusing. Now they have other matches. They have other Deep South has other stuff coming up. I will always continue to push them too. Uh, they will be at Decatur Barbecue Festival on October 18th and the Little 5 Point Festival on October 18th and 19th. Nathan Hamilton was not there. I got to check on Nathan. I think he was doing some out of town trip. About this time of year, he does a few, and I gotta get my Nathan Hamilton shirt because I haven't been able to see him at the shows. So I gotta get my Nathan Hamilton shirt from him. I've already seen it on somebody else, and it looks fantastic on them. I can only imagine how fantastic it's going to look on this show when we're wearing it here. But he wasn't there, so we got Gemma Jules and the returning Drew Dickinson. I had heard Drew was done with Deep South, and then he was back. I think he just took a break, folks. I think he just took a break. I mean, I could reach out to him and actually find out if you guys really want to know, but you should just trust me and know that Drew knows what he's doing. Eric knows what he's doing. Nathan Hamilton knows what he's doing. They booming. They're booming. One of the best commentary teams out there by far. What else was there? Shout out C Dub. Get well soon. I think he gets his staples out pretty soon in his arm or yeah, bicep tear that he did at his while he was training. And shout out Johnson Champion as well, the unofficial member of Lethal Gains faction. Same thing, man. He really ripped up his arm pretty good. and he had it fixed about a week ago. And thoughts, prayers, well wishes for everybody that everybody gets better very, very soon. I think we've reached the end of the show. We've officially talked about everything we possibly could talk about in the world of pro. Oh, no, I didn't. If you want to meet this guy, I understand if you don't. If you want to meet this guy, I also understand if you do. I will be at Premier All Star Wrestling in Carrollton tomorrow night. That would be Saturday night. I think bell time is at 7. Be there earlier than that. I'm sure the front row is already sold out. There are bleacher seats and other things available. Possibly bring your own chairs. It's going to be an absolute banger of a night. Let's pull up that card because I have some theories, and boy, do I have some theories. Where Okay, apparently I didn't save it. So instead, let's go where great podcasting, I know. Um, there we go. All right. Ethan Dallas, Aaron Dallas, Lethal Gains, OXP, or OXP's in a match. Ashton Martin, a bunch of people are going to be there that have not been officially booked in matches. Xander Warwick is going to take on a member of Greatness Incorporated because he eventually wants to get his hands on Richard Page. Here's the weird thing. So far in Premier All Star Wrestling, Richard Page's faction of Greatness Inc. Now, his faction goes to multiple places, so this could easily be answered with one of those. So Xander Warwick has to go through every member of Greatness Inc. in order to get to Richard Page. That's fine. Well, Lethal Gains are booked for a 6-man championship match, I'm pretty sure. So it's not them. Well, the only other member currently in Premier All Star Wrestling is Baracus. Baracus is part of the main event, and I'm going to get to in a minute. So we're going to get to see a potential fifth member of Greatness Inc. And spoiler alert, it's not the Impact. I don't know. I was disappointed too. Although Xander Warwick would probably whip me up pretty good. But I want to know who this other person is. We are also going to get to see OXP versus Justin McKenzie. That I've been waiting on these two to square off because OXP has been on many shows such as Cobra Kai and other things. He has got some lethal kicks and strikes. On top of he's a pretty good wrestler. He's a pretty solid wrestler. And Justin McKenzie right up there with him. He just wasn't in those shows. We're going to get to see Alexander Lev defend the Georgia Heritage Championship against De Silva. Boy, he is a suplex machine. Lev is going to have to try to stay more than an arm's length away because if De Silva can grab him, he's going to have him up and over the top of his head. And then the main event is a 10-man total elimination tag match. So I'm going to break down what I think that means. What I think that means is there are 5 people on this side, and there are 5 people on this side, and it's Survivor Series rules. You guys remember the old school Survivor Series? For a lot of you new school fans, you guys will have no idea what I'm talking about because they have not done this in a long time. And if they did, nobody remembered it. What it is if you get pinned or submitted, you lose or counted out, you lose a pinfall whatsoever, you're out. So, it could be all kinds of different things going on there. And also there is a stipulation that whoever pins Stevie Ray Frost, which means there are 5 potential people who can do that. Potential. Doesn't necessarily mean they will. He could win the match. And if he wins the match, nobody would pin him. If his team wins the match and he's still an active participant, then this stipulation doesn't matter. But Jason Boyd, the GM and ring announcer, said that whoever pins Stevie Ray Frost in this match becomes the automatic, de facto, no questions asked, number one contender. So here is Stevie Ray Frost's teammate. His newest disciple is Andrew Seabolt, the aforementioned Baracus, Aiden Andrews, who picked up his first win on the last show, his first win in Premier, and Christian Pierce, who also picked up a big win a couple shows back. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting there. That's his team. That's a solid team. They're going to face the team, which means here are the 5 people that have the potential to be the number one contender. Eddie Hendricks, Ace Haven, Joe Black, Sean Nelson, and AJ Black. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Are Joe and AJ related? They're not. They're not. Nope. From different sides of the globe. Different sides. Different sides of the state. Actually, I think Joe might be from somewhere else even. But all right. So let's just say, could Eddie Hendricks win this or get that pinfall and become a number one contender? Sure. He's been lighting the world on fire. He just recently beat De Silva. Well, him and De Silva had they both pinned each other. Imagine that. Just the thing I just talked about, except for this only happened once in Premier and not multiple times. Over the summer, they both got pinned down, both at the same time. So Eddie Hendricks versus Stevie Ray Frost. That might be a fun match. AJ Black, up and coming, but established superstar, been all over the state, been to multiple states here and there. Could he be the number one contender? Yeah, that I could make a case for that too. That makes a lot of sense. That if AJ, who has been just right there on top of it, lucky for him, I don't see Madman Mason on the card because he called out Madman Mason at the last show, and I think it didn't go. Not I think it didn't go well. AJ recovered from his wounds and injuries, and he's good because he's a trooper and he's a warrior. But yeah, Mason kind of showed everybody why you don't call out a monster, you don't call out a madman. I think AJ learned that, and I think he's good for it. But now we get into the final 3 are the ones that really become intriguing to me. And they're kind of even. I kind of had them in an order, but they're kind of even the more I think about it. Could established Georgia wrestler and promoter and pretty swell guy, Ace Haven, could he win that and he get a title shot against Stevie Ray Frost? Absolutely. Because Ace has the resume and the credentials that at any given point he could pop up. Even if you thought this was random, it's not very random that he's in this, but he just pops up with an opportunity to be number one contender. Yeah, Ace be a number one contender and facing Stevie Ray Frost. I dig it. Could it be Sean Nelson, who didn't get a fair shake at Stevie Ray Frost last time, which is what set this all up, because he had to go through the Prince of Darkness rules match, which included Druid and Exploding Bat, or an Exploding Bat. So Sean being number one contender, maybe he gets the name of stipulation next time. That, when it's more in his backyard, in his realm, that's pretty intriguing too, because I think Sean Nelson is very capable of taking the belt off of Stevie Ray Frost. It's not because Frost is bad. It's Nelson's there. He's on that level. And then we get Joe Black. Arguably the top wrestler in Georgia. I know certain lists may have had Bryce Cannon or Carly Bravo above him, but he's He's right there on it. Joe's been one of the best for a long, long time. Joe Black making his return to Premier to face Stevie Ray Frost in a title match. I think that's going to attract a lot of attention. And that's going to get a lot of people to want to come see this because that is one spectacular matchup. So if I had to put them in order, Eddie at 5, AJ at 4, Ace at 3, Sean at 2, Joe Black is who I really think Shawn Nelson has a chance if anybody's going to do it. But there's also the chance that Stevie Ray Frost, who has been champion for over a year now, figures out a way, maybe at the expense of Christian Pierce or Aiden Andrews or Baracus or even Xander Seabolt, at the expense of one of his teammates. Keep in mind, he only chose to have one of these. The rest of them were appointed to him. At the expense of one of his teammates to preserve being able to call the shot. There's always that possibility. And if I didn't give you enough reasons to come to this show, I got a question if you have a pulse. I need you just go and pinch yourself now and make sure you're not dreaming. Because it is a lot more than dreams. It is a reality. That total elimination from Premier All-Star Wrestling is tomorrow night. We will be there. Hopefully you guys will be there. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait to write about it and talk about it. Georgia wrestling history is I'm excited to be able to write again after having a weekend off, which I think that wasn't. I was working all weekend through our hockey coverage. There's going to be a few more of those coming up. But to be back at a show like this, I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. The poster is purple. I'll show you guys. The poster is purple. Purple's my favorite color. I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. But what can wait is everything we're going to talk about next week. So thanks for tuning in to another great edition of Strong Style. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. We will see you guys next week, a lot earlier than this in the week. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses. Go watch wrestling. Go watch fighting. We'll see you next week.